On the Senate floor Wednesday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted Republican lawmakers. This came one day after Senator Lindsey introduced a bill that would criminalize abortion after 15 weeks into a pregnancy. This is the first national ban on the procedure to be introduced after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The legislation faces long odds of actually passing, even if Republicans regain control of Congress. Schumer, who was at an event on the White House lawn yesterday celebrating the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, contrasted the two parties. The New York Democrat said, quote, "One party is focused on jobs. That's us. The other is focused on nationwide abortion bans. That's the extreme MAGA Republicans."
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, yesterday was truly a tale of two parties. While one party, the Democrats, gathered at the White House to celebrate the passage of our job-creating agenda, the other party, the MAGA Republicans, spent their day introducing a nationwide ban on abortions. If the American people want to know what the differences between the two parties are, look no further. One party's focused on jobs. That's us. The other is focused on nationwide abortion bans. That's the extreme MAGA Republicans. One wants to lower inflation. One party wants to lower inflation and help families make ends meet, to tackle the generational challenges we face, and has passed major legislation to that effect, now law. The other party, apparently, wants to eliminate women's autonomy over their own bodies. Here's how you know Republicans are dangerously out of touch. Months after women had their freedom of choice taken away by the MAGA Supreme Court, a nationwide abortion ban was actually their attempt to seem more mainstream. Can you believe it? To seem more mainstream? Heaven help us, Mr. President. Heaven help us. Shows just how extreme they are. The core problem is that far from being mainstream, a large portion of the Republican Party harbors truly extreme views on a woman's right to choose. In the few months since the Dobbs decision, Republican state legislatures in places like Indiana and South Carolina and others have either introduced or enacted new abortion restrictions, with alarmingly few exceptions of rape or incest. In this chamber, Senate Republicans spent years confirming judges hostile to freedom of choice, including 3 sitting Supreme Court justices who joined with the majority in overturning Roe. And the then Majority Leader, now Minority Leader, Leader McConnell, has repeatedly said his greatest accomplishment is putting these judges on the court. His greatest accomplishment, putting judges on the court who overturned Roe v. Wade? Do the American people want that? I don't think so. And for all the hemming and hawing we heard yesterday from Republicans about where they really stand on the issue, they cannot run away from their record. Setting aside yesterday's proposal, the fact is that 45 Senate Republicans, including Leader McConnell, remain co-sponsors of another nationwide abortion ban previously introduced by the senator from South Carolina. Leader McConnell himself told USA Today earlier this year that without Roe, proposals for a nationwide ban on abortions were now possible, his words, possible, if Republicans controlled the Senate. Do the American people want that? Do they want McConnell, Leader Mitch McConnell, to be majority leader and work to overturn, to impose a nationwide ban on abortions? I don't think so. Now they're sort of running away from what their real beliefs are, but they're like the dog who caught the bus. For years, they pushed to make this happen, unfortunately, to the detriment of over 100 million American women. It happened, and now they don't know quite what to do. They're not backing off their horrible MAGA principles, but they want to hide from it at the same time because they know how unpopular it is. And to show you just where the party is at, almost immediately after the court overturned Roe, Mike Pence, former Republican vice president, now running for president possibly in 2024, said, quote, "Republicans must not rest until abortion is illegal everywhere." That means a nationwide ban. That doesn't leave it up to the states. In fact, he doubled down on just this last night, saying a national abortion ban is profoundly more important than Republican short-term interests. That's one of the leaders of the Republican Party, which has moved so far to the right, even that someone like Pence, who doesn't always go along with Trump, feels compelled to say that extreme, to take that extreme position. And lest we forget, folks, nearly every Senate Republican already voted to push national abortion bans in 2020, in 2018, and 2015. During one of these votes, the senator from South Carolina, who introduced the nationwide ban again yesterday, said, quote, "These pieces of legislation will continue to be advanced until they pass." How do we know that Republicans will put a national abortion ban on the floor if they control the Senate? Not only has Senator Graham committed to doing it, they've done it before, 3 times, and they'll do it again if they get the majority. America, beware. America, beware. So the truth is not hard to grasp. Republicans do not care about leaving abortion in the hands of the states. No way. They do not care that a majority of Americans supported Roe and support abortion rights. What MAGA Republicans care about deep down is eliminating freedom of choice across America, period. And they are already at work right now on legislation, as we heard yesterday, that will take us down that terrible, terrible path. Well, it's my view that the American people aren't going to be fooled by Republicans' desperate attempts to seem mainstream. You can't fake your way through an issue so personal and so important as a woman's right to make her own health care choices. They're not going to be able to run and duck and bob and weave and tie themselves in pretzel knots. Everyone knows where they're at. Lindsey Graham made it clear again yesterday. And people will know the Republican view. Abolish abortion everywhere. That's not going to change, no matter what some on the other side might think. Now, on the positive impacts of the Democratic agenda, a much happier note. As I said a moment ago, Mr. President, while MAGA Republicans spent yesterday touting their extreme agenda, Democrats focused on the things that matter most right now to the American people: lowering costs, creating good-paying jobs, and protecting our planet for future generations. The Inflation Reduction Act has not been law for even a month, not just a month. And already it's spurring new investments that will generate years, if not decades, of robust economic activity in industries that will stay here in America, not in China, not anywhere else, for a very long time. A remarkable number of companies in the energy, automotive, and clean tech sectors have announced that they're either approving or accelerating new plans to grow their businesses. One of the most significant areas of activity is happening in EVs and battery manufacturing, so crucial to meeting our country's growing demand for electric vehicles. China has dominated battery manufacturing for too long, and we're bringing these jobs back to America. Not just talking about it, doing it. Honda and LG, for instance, have teamed up to invest $4 billion for a new battery plant with an annual production of 40 GWh. Hyundai, meanwhile, has announced that they might actually accelerate their timetable for building new state-of-the-art EV and battery plant in Savannah, Georgia. Plans called for getting started early next year, and now they're saying it can happen sooner. And it's the votes of people and the activity of people like Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff that have made that happen. Of course, the benefits of our bill will extend way beyond EVs and batteries. Solar Energy Industries Association projects that by 2027, the U.S. solar market will grow 40% more than expected, thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act. And numerous companies focused on renewables, carbon capture, heat pumps are announcing a flurry of investments, very often citing our bill, now law, the IRA. All of these examples share something important. These are the jobs of tomorrow. These industries are going to stick around for decades as our country makes the transition away from fossil fuels and towards cleaner forms of energy. The impact will be felt everywhere. It's going to take millions of workers to build these vehicles, reshape our infrastructure, install these technologies in our homes and offices. And because so much of this will be done by union labor, these will be good-paying jobs at good wages, with good benefits, lifting up the middle class, keeping those who are in the middle class there and allowing many others who are climbing that ladder to get into the middle class and stay there. It's a wonderful and beautiful thing. In a certain sense, we did the right thing, making sure our planet doesn't burn up. But it had so many other effects, like good-paying jobs and strengthening the middle class. And had we not taken action to encourage these investments, it's likely many of these jobs would end up going overseas, to Asia, to Europe. America would have lost out. Instead, we have a real chance to lead the way again. This, Mr. President, is the result of Democrats leading the way here in Congress. We're proud, every one of us is proud of the steps we've taken to lower energy costs, to create jobs that have a real future in this country, and to give working families a chance to climb up those ladders and get into that middle class. It's all about restoring that sunny American optimism that's been at the core of our economic prosperity for so long, that some felt have passed us by. But no, we Democrats said it hasn't passed us by. The best of our future is yet to come. On marriage equality, Mr. President, over the past few months, both sides have engaged in good faith conversations about how to pass marriage equality into law. I truly hope, for the sake of tens of millions of Americans, that there will be at least 10 Republicans who will vote with us to pass this important bill soon. Democrats are ready to make it happen and willing to debate reasonable compromises on the specifics. So I urge my colleagues on the other side to join us. Around the country, the feeling is sinking in that this is a dark time for individual rights. So codifying marriage equality is one of the best things we can do to provide peace of mind to millions of Americans who are gay Americans, LGBTQ Americans who are married, and to their families, to their friends. It extends way beyond the individual couple who's married. It's an issue that hits home for many of us in this chamber, including me. If we ever find ourselves in the awful situation of having marriage equality overturned by the Supreme Court, I dare say the vast majority of us would see impacts in our own personal lives or the personal lives of our close family and friends in one way or another. It would be risky and perhaps foolish to think that such a day could never come. Maybe a few months ago people would think that. No more. Justice Thomas put his cards on the table. He said that he's very open that the Supreme Court's decision protecting same-sex marriage should in fact be reconsidered. And often when Justice Thomas says it, his other 4 MAGA Republican Supreme Court colleague justices are thinking the same thing. To anyone who says that the High Court would never be so reckless as to overturn a decision that has protected this fundamental right of millions of people, all I say to this is, wake up. Look what they did. Look what they did in Dobbs decision. Passing marriage equality in the Senate is all about making sure such a danger never, never materializes. Millions of Americans, tens of millions of Americans, will breathe a huge sigh of relief if we do this. And it's the right thing to do. We know that America has trod on the long path towards greater equality. We know that when the Constitution was written, millions of Americans were enslaved. In many states, you had to be a white male Protestant property owner to vote. That would leave you and me out, Mr. President. They know that, and they know, and most Americans are proud that we've made progress. There are some dark forces encapsulated and embodied in the MAGA Republicans, so many of whom are in this chamber, who want to take steps backward. We're not going to let it happen. We shouldn't let it happen. So I truly hope, for the sake of tens of millions of Americans, that there will be at least 10 Republicans who will vote with us to pass this very, very important bill. I yield the floor.